Welcome to the Lexus LBX, which is a 1.5 premium segment city crossover. But before we do that, check these out. For those of you who are old enough to remember Taggart, there's been a murder. That's kind of what I'm wearing here today because they want to keep the floor really white. So what do you need to know about this car? Right, it goes on sale. Well, you can order it in Ireland from July. You'll get delivery of the car from March 2024. Around the front, this is called a spindle grille, in case you didn't know, but they've kind of broken the spindle grille for the LBX. So it's still here, but it's a little bit different here. Now you have this strip that does not light up. It's a Lexus. It doesn't do bling, but it has a lovely chrome strip around the front here. Now, if you did cover that badge, tell me what you see. I see a bit of Cooper Born, particularly around the flared wings of the car. Airflow down here to assist with cooling, but also just better driving performance, so Lexus say. And that's one of the key things about this car in general. They say that you shouldn't have to compromise on luxury because you've got a smaller car. And that's where they're kind of standing over it with this car. They're putting things in that you get in premium cars in a smaller vehicle. More about that a little bit later on. Now, if you come around to the side of the vehicle, you'll get a sense of the size of it. They've squished this A-pillar back a little bit to give you a longer bonnet. God, these things actually slide. This is Michael Jackson. So they say that it's not compromising the space, even though they've pushed that A-pillar back. More also about that later on. Now, these tyres are 18-inch, but they've got a 55 profile on the rubber. So there's actually a huge amount of tyre squish going on there, and that should in theory translate into better ride comfort. Haven't driven the car yet, hope to later on in the year. Handles on it, harder to see in this kind of darker grey, but there is a black high gloss going on here, and if you get this car in one of the brighter colours, there's 9 colours in total, with a bitone roof, which this version is, then you'll have slightly different colours on the tops of the door handles. And then you come around to the back of the car, which kind of flares out here. So the rear quarter bulges away from the nose of the car almost, gives it a sportier look, and just kind of a sportier stance all over the vehicle. Now, I've gone all Johnny Smith here. I do have some notes in my hand. Something that I want to tell you about just from the back of the car. It's a little bit like me, thin on top. So the car here, as far as the shoulders go, then spreads out. Big difference between this and the Yaris Cross. The Yaris Cross is almost a 400 litre boot. This is 330 litres. And we get the front wheel drive version in Ireland, but there is an all wheel drive version. And if you get that, that compromises the boot space even more. So that's something to bear in mind, depending on what market you're in. Won't be so much of a problem in Ireland because you won't have as much of a choice, but it is a noticeably smaller boot, and it's not like the rear legroom has increased compared to the Yaris Cross. I'll give you a look at that in a couple of minutes. So let me know your thoughts. There's many classic Lexus touches to it, whether it's that red lighting strip across the back, the spindle grille, albeit slightly changed, and just the strong shoulder stance of the car. Very much Lexus familiar home territory. Really solid clunk to these doors when you open it for the LBX, but as I've mentioned, I'm not massively tall. It does get a little bit tight here for space, for knees. Good space for feet, all right, you'll fit them under. But depending on how tall, obviously this is a left-hand drive car, but depending on how tall your driver will be here in Ireland, that may impact on you. A decent headspace though, there's quite a bit there. This doesn't have a glass roof. It also doesn't have an armrest. Wouldn't necessarily expect one in this size of car, but it's a Lexus and they're going to charge you, I'm guessing, from €40,000. So you might want or expect an armrest in the back. There's also 2 USB charging ports back here. Sorry, they're USB-C, and look very familiar because the covers on them are straight out of a Toyota. So if you're going to put car seats for kids or you're carrying teenagers, go to the showroom, or just take my judgment on it that it's okay, but depending on if you've got 6 foot tall teenagers, one of them's going to want to go in the front and then one of them's going to be in the back grumpy, but that's normal anyway. They're teenagers. Right, to the front. Okay, so the front of the LBX. First thing I'm seeing is a big, looking like an infrared thing that's watching me to see how I'm behaving on the road. And that brings me on to Rake and Reach. There's loads of it. So if you like your steering wheel on top of you, which is not very safe, but you can do that or push it in. Manually adjustable. Now, we do have this screen that I love because it's not sitting like a big, huge tablet stuck onto the dash. It's just under 10 inches, but it's nicely integrated into the dashboard. So there's no visual noise, is how Lexus have described this to us today. And then, you know, this steering wheel is the same steering wheel Lexus use in their more expensive, more premium vehicles. So that's lovely to see. Same as the switchgear for these things. So the touch points in the car, they haven't skimped on, despite that this is kind of new ground for Lexus in terms of the price of the vehicle. That said, Lexus are going after some new customers. Now, they have admitted that some existing Lexus customers, clearly with loads of money, might buy this as a second car, city car. But they also have identified areas where people are aware of Lexus, but may not have bought one before, and then people that aren't aware of them at all. I don't know how that would happen, because they've been around a long time. But idea being that they'll get some new customers that wouldn't typically be Lexus customers in this vehicle. So it's a kind of a wraparound feeling. You do sit lower, so it's not like that higher up crossover feeling that you get. That in turn lends itself to a kind of a cocooned vibe inside. You know, the center column kind of widens out here, does restrict your knee space potentially as well. But I noticed there's nice shortcut buttons to things. There's two USB-C charging ports. This shifter looks a tiny bit smaller than what you might get in an NX hybrid, for example. And you know, everything is a little bit smaller. Again, this space is what you would expect in a Toyota Yaris Cross. But it's still here. Oh, I like that. There's a sliding armrest with additional space. There's one cup holder down here, which is adjustable. And then there's another one here also. So that's good. And the seats are very, very comfortable. Leather is vegan. You can spec what colour seatbelt you'd like. Is he actually mopping the floor behind my video? I bet you doesn't do that to the German fella. But in this case, they're just black. But you can match it and kind of tweak your own car. There's 2 trim levels coming to Ireland. There's about 5 in total, including one that you, if you're a first edition order person, you'll get like there's 2,000 of these. Not getting that in Ireland. That's called the LBX Original Edition. So in Ireland, we're getting Elegant, which comes with vivid colours on the inside and 18-inch alloy wheels, and we're getting Emotion, which is a kind of a sportier. You can imagine the stitching in the car will have red stitching on the seats. Bi-tone, so if you get a red or a bright exterior, you can get a black roof to go with the car. But if you're watching this outside of Ireland, in the UK perhaps, hello, don't mind me, you can get Relax, maybe I should, Cool, and the LBX Original Edition, which I believe you can go online from the 15th of June and order that. Also, this is a self-charging hybrid, so you don't have to plug it in. But about 66% of Lexus customers have said if they were buying a car like this, they would want it to be a self-charging hybrid. So that's another point that was made today.
The good news for those of you looking to have an up-close look at the LBX is that it will be available to preview on selected dates between July 12th and 20th at Lexus retailers. So call your sales rep, drop them an email.
Right, elephant in the room stuff. Let's just compare it with the Yaris Cross, which Lexus today brought up themselves. The wheelbase in this car is longer. The overhangs have been made shorter. They've made the body more rigid. A little bit of tweaking with the front suspension. And they've lowered the seat, so you do sit lower. So there is enough going on there. Petrol engine, 1.5, 3-cylinder, 136 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 miles an hour in just under 10 seconds. Not going to set any world records, but it's you know, for the car that it's absolutely perfect. And something else like this. In other Lexuses, they have a thing called e-latch, so you don't have to do the double thing as you do in a normal door. So in this case, you pull that once and it just opens.
Dan?
You're right. I've been doing it wrong all along, all my life. I'm leaving that in. Another thing that Lexus are very excited about, now they did say, look, it's only a small thing, but they're right. This is called e-latch. You don't have to pull on the door and then push it. You just simply push this in and out you go. And it is a thing that you'd expect more with a premium type of car. This instrument displays 12.3 inches, so it's actually wider than your center screen. Gives you all the usual information that you'd want to know. And you've got cruise control and shortcut buttons and all the physical things that you'd want here in the vehicle. So I'm buying it. It is well put together, lovely textures, lovely quality, like that's proper soft, squishy plastic, but there's no fancy ambient lighting, and that's kind of what Lexus do. It's not really about bling, so if you're looking for 12 different colors that you can change your dashboard to, probably not the car for you. So this has been my first take at the Lexus LBX. It's a crossover, baby crossover, and everything else in the range extends bigger and bigger. If you love the RX, by the way, the new RX is going to be on my channel in just a couple of weeks' time. I like it. It's compact, it's small, but it's all right on the inside. It's good looking. Yes, it's borrowed influences from other cars. There's absolutely no doubt. Personally, I'd probably go for a brighter color. There's a copper in it that looks really, really good. I think some of the lines are perhaps lost in a darker color. I see the main competition in Ireland anyway for this car being the Audi A1. You could say the Mini Countryman maybe, although that should be called a country person at this stage. Just saying, lads. But I'd see an A1 customer looking at this going, oh, that's interesting. And like, that's a badge that it's synonymous with luxury, and like, this car is made in Japan, by the way. They're not making it in somewhere like Spain. So the real deal as far as Lexus are concerned. Reckon the price is going to be 40,000. There'll be a slight increase in price for that second trim that I mentioned. In other markets, no matter what trim you go for, the price stays the same. But hey, that's Ireland for you when it comes to car prices. On the road in March next year, you can order one of these from about July. So talk to your Lexus dealer should you want a 2024 plate LBX. Thank you very much for watching. Comments, thoughts, questions, abuse, or support at buymeacoffee.com/Nobby on cars. And thank you to Tisha Chatton for helping film today. You should check out her multiple YouTube outlets, including Auto Social UK. See you in the next one.